And so for me, I have focused in this last year to really believe there's only one way to be successful in your life. You have to investigate how you feel. You have a problem in your life right now that has you paralyzed, stuck in crisis. Investigate how you feel about that problem. You're driven by fear. Fear has you locked into reacting. Investigate how you feel, frees you from reacting, and allows you to act. Now that you've identified how you that fear is how you feel about your biggest problem, your awareness of your fear is the key to setting you free from reacting. Now you're free to act in a way that allows you to actually begin to solve your problem. Investigating how you feel about your problem frees you from it because it makes you aware of the fact that you are just acting out of fear. Hey, Shannon.
Hello, Chico.
We're back. Filter optional.
Filter optional's back.
I'm the no filter.
Yes, and I'm the filter. And you may have less of a filter now.
I may have less of a filter,
which is fine.
And I'm getting more comfortable with that.
Yes. But why have we been missing for a little bit?
We've been missing couple different reasons we've been missing is we've been like really digging in and doing some of our own work and really expanding some of the work we do out there out here with others.
Yeah, out here.
Yes.
In our own little land.
Yeah, but both you and I have been digging in, not just doing personal work, but doing professional work to expand what we offer others.
Yeah, but also there's been a learning curve because our producer who officed in our office started a new gig and he had a baby girl and just quit doing the podcast producing. And so we lost our producer.
And it was so easy when we had him.
Right.
He had the studio all set up.
Right. And so we always had our eyes set on doing it ourselves. And now we're back. We are back after lots of equipment purchases that I had no idea what they're for. I don't know. But
yes.
Anyway.
And so as with Filter Optional, we got a lot of content that we're going to be putting out over the next several months, and we're going to be able to do it in different locations.
Yes, we can move around.
And so we're going to be trying to really expand that and expand what both of us are doing. Our producer in the past, he officed with us, so it was literally going next door. And now that office is your office.
It is my office.
And what got you into getting an office space? What are you doing now?
Well, so, we both are entering into a different phase, a different season in our lives, empty nesting, just not retiring, not wanting to retire because there's still much life to be had, but we've moved out of the owning treatment centers, which is where Filter Optional kind of was birthed from, helping families with treatment and family members in treatment. So with that experience that I had with working with families and spouses and moms and people.
Well, you also were working with me
and working with you, but I decided to go ahead and get my coaching certification, and I got a couple of certifications to help with that. I'd already been doing it for free for years and years, and I just realized that I could do this and I could help people and I could show my value. You start to, as a woman of my age and stage and season in life, you start to really want to pursue your value and
Well, you were doing a lot of coaching. You don't have your counseling degree, you're not a PhD. You do have a master's, but you were doing a lot of coaching without having the certification just because of us owning two different treatment centers.
Right.
Coaching not just, family members and stuff that were coming through. You were coaching staff
And
that
I have
worked
a
for
teaching
us.
certification. I've been a teacher. So coaching comes very naturally to me. And I've been doing it practice, like on the job practice. But it was a part of our program. And so it wasn't like I was marketing myself as a coach or anything like that, because it was just a part of our program that I would meet with family members and coach them. And
What I think about, I don't know if your first time listening to Filter Optional, it's like those. I stayed at the Holiday Inn Express, so that made me, a professional doctor or whatever. Those old commercials, people would call you, uh, because being married to me, hey, what do I do with my son? What do I do with that? I mean, you were
I would
doing.
spend hours and hours, and I would say, "Here's my phone number. You can just call me and I can coach you through this season for you." And then it was a natural progression once we aren't owners of treatment facilities anymore, but we're moving into this next season. I realized I did have so much to offer as far as helping people launch, because there is a difference between coaching and therapy. And a lot of people don't even know what coaching, they're like, what is that? Why wouldn't I just go to therapy? And I have told people, had conversations with people, because they're like, well, there's some people that are just coaching that are just, they say they're coaches and so they are. Voila, I'm a coach. And then you can't really do that as a therapist, because you have a licensing board and all that stuff. And so people are like, but what's the difference? So why are you different? Because you just say you're a coach. And I'm like, because
Or what's the difference in therapy
therapy
versus
coaching, which
coaching?
is like, so the therapy is like -10 to 0 when you are really needing to work through something, trauma, addiction, whatever it might be. And so the therapist, because of their experience and their education and their licensing and everything, can get you kind of to 0. But then you, I think the goal of therapy, you can answer this because you're a therapist, is to graduate from therapy.
Oh, yes.
I mean,
That's what
that's
I say to
so
all my
when
clients.
people tell me, I have friends that are like, "Oh yeah, I've been with my therapist for 15 years." They say that like it's a positive thing, like they built this great relationship and that they've been doing all this work for 15 years, because they've been with the same therapist for 15 years and they're just doing this outstanding work. And I'm like, "Well, wow, shouldn't you be further along to positive 10?" Like, so I feel like a therapist can kind of get you to back to ground zero. But then when you really want to launch, maybe what you need is a coach.
Well, and I like the concept of coaching. I do therapy, but I also do coaching myself as well. I really like the coaching concept and do some case management and other things like that. But when we think about coaches, lots of times the first thing that comes up is sports teams, and
Right.
when you think about a coach isn't executing the plays. A coach is coming up with the plays,
They're
telling.
not doing the work.
They're not out there on the field grinding it.
Right. Right.
I love Coach Sarkisian at University of Texas. I think he's a great coach, but he's not on the field making those plays. And
Right.
so, as a coach, what you're saying, Shannon, is you're helping people. You're helping them come up with the plays to execute life and to thrive.
Right. And I think that, like we have always said, if you've been a listener of Filter Optional, we don't like to use words like good, bad, right, or wrong. We like healthy and unhealthy. And coaching helps you make healthy decisions. It's not about good or bad or right or wrong, and it's healthy for you. And I love that about coaching, because people sometimes need permission to maybe draw a boundary with a family member, or start a new career. Even no matter what age they are, they need that permission. And so a coach can give them that permission. They can say, you can do this. Now, let's come up with a game plan. Let's set some goals. Let's, troubleshoot the situation. How are you going to make it better? And so it's just a valuable thing for anyone, I think.
And so what I hear, and I don't think you're going to want to miss this, if you're listening to our podcast right now, you need to really hone in on this, is that, okay, yes, there's a time, a season, a place to do therapy. But there's also a time and season that a coach could be very beneficial. And it doesn't mean that, hey, I need coaching on this, but do you step back and go, what do I need to do to execute things? And if you're stuck, you can get a coach that can help step you back so you can execute, so they can see it from a different perspective.
Right. Yes. I've had people tell me that they just they for some reason they're restless with going to a therapist that they've been to for 15 years, and it's 1 hour a week. In some cases it's 1 hour every 2 weeks, but it's 1 hour a week, and they feel like they have to remember all that they want to talk about for that 1 hour, and then they get in that hour and then they leave and they forget. It's like going to the doctor. When I go to the doctor, I'm like, I have to kind of make a list, and then inevitably I leave every time and I'm like, oh, I meant to ask her about my cholesterol, or I meant to ask her about whatever. And especially it happens when I get a mole check, because you only go once a year or twice a year, and you're like, you see a spot, and then 3 months later when you have your appointment, you're like, oh, I was going to ask her about this spot, and I didn't even ask her when I was in there. But coaching is more of it can be a day-to-day kind of relationship or touching base, because of the
Well, I think coaching,
mediums I use, and
yes,
things like that. People can have real life situations, and they can be like, coach, I need a play.
yeah, check out my thinking. Help
Yeah.
me understand this. And so when you are being coached, you are getting information that you're checking out what your thought processes are.
Right.
Are
And it's
you
real
making a healthy
time.
thought process?
It's pretty real time. It's pretty, game day ready, game time ready, all that kind of stuff. And it's practice and it's work. It's just like a football game, it's practice, it's work, and you're getting the plays and you're learning the playbook. You're getting your own playbook, and then you can execute yourself. I mean, now, anyway, we're going to get into major football analogies, I have a feeling, because we're getting pretty close to football season. But the coaching allows you to execute, where the therapy is something that is desperately needed for a season and a time, and where an hour can be a precious time to work out a situation.
Yes. And so with therapy, I agree with you. I don't have any clients that I've seen for 15 years. Now I've had seasons as a therapist where I see someone and I might not see him again for 5, 10, or 15 years. I have a guy that's now 40 years old. I saw him 25 years ago when he was a 15-year-old kid.
Yeah. But that's what I go through. I've needed therapy for different seasons in my life. I've had, struggles with kids or
Codependency.
Yeah. Aging parents, whatever it is. It's just, there's obviously a need for it. You're a therapist.
Yes.
And I would have had to, when our oldest was little, I did start classes to get my counseling degree, and realized it was just going to take me away from doing other work that was necessary for our business and our life. And so,
yeah, you got a taste of it. But what I believe, and I believe this, God has this plan, and the plan is you are a coach. I was sharing with our youngest last night. I go, Mom is thriving in what she's doing. She's very talented, and people are drawn to her. And so it's like getting to celebrate you with our kid is awesome.
Well, it's just I'm not, like poo-pooing either therapy or coaching. I'm not, because I'm not a therapist. You know what I mean? But I'm saying there can be, because sometimes people just don't get the coaching. Like they just can't see how that would
But at the same time,
benefit
Shannon,
their daily life until they do it. And then all my clients, without exception, are like, oh my gosh, why haven't I done this sooner?
but the same thing goes
Same with therapy.
with therapy.
I know.
It's like a lot of
And there
people,
can be bad therapists, there can be bad coaches, there can be
yes,
it,
or there can be a coach that you just don't get.
exactly
Might be a good coach for other people. There could be a good therapist for other people.
right. Right.
And so for you are, your new launch of life is being this life coach
Yeah.
and working with different people. I've been launching some new things myself, and so I that's how come we've taken this pause. Besides the fact that our producer,
Yes. And there was a
moved,
learning curve. It's
it was
taken way too long for us to figure this out. Whereas young people are like, just plug in a microphone and like get to it, but whatever.
yeah. But also we've taken some time where you've gotten all these different certifications in your coaching. I've gotten some certifications as well on top of my therapy, but doing some case management, really coming up with meeting people, the needs that I saw in some places, the needs that I saw that were lacking in the drug and alcohol treatment industry. I'm trying to fill in and provide that need or get people hooked up in that area. I'm doing coaching, even almost kind of case management for a big construction company. And I love what I'm doing
I
with
know.
the
So
people
talk about
there.
that a little bit, because I think so. It's interesting because our youngest, his major in college now is this HDO, Human Dimensions of Organization. And it was unheard of, I don't know how many years ago,
For a major,
for a major.
it's really been unheard of for, when we were in school, that wasn't a major.
No,
It
right,
wasn't even a major 10, 15 years ago.
right. But
We've
people,
talked about, you've seen companies come up and talking about organizational health. So it's kind of an organizational health model.
it is. And they're going to move it into the business school soon enough, because he takes business classes, but then he takes all these, they do projects. I think this feeds into what you're doing for the construction company, but it's like they do all these projects where they kind of role play. They create a company, and then they create roles in the company, and everybody, and then they research how everybody works together best in the most healthy manner. So the human dimensions, it's like it brings the humanity into organizations. And so it's like they do Enneagram tests and, lots of personality tests to figure out how people work together. It's fascinating to me. But
And you see a lot of organizations using a lot of those tests and tools. And the construction company that I'm doing some work for is called Gordon Highlander.
what they do, I mean, just it's very simple, but what it's not simple what you do, but it's simple. The owner, CEO decided to bring you on to do what?
To do coaching, sometimes counseling, sometimes crisis intervention, but working not just with individuals, but with the executive team or other
But how
leaders.
does it work? How does it work? His employees get to just call you
His employees just get to call me sometimes, but
if
other
they
times
for whatever.
for whatever it is. He goes, man, if we make sure that our employees are healthy, if it's struggles in their personal life with marriages, or addiction issues, or traumatic incidents of someone dying, a relative, or cancer scares, is like someone that they can talk to besides calling uh and just
HR,
HR, and just going
somebody
to
on their
some. Yeah,
plan.
exactly. It's like he provides this service where I'm there. I
Right, that's what I
show
was gonna
up.
say. So who pays for it?
The
The own yeah,
Gordon
the
Highlander, the
company.
company pays for it, and so they talk about that, and I love what they're doing at this company, Gordon Highlander. They're doing a lot of those things. They have someone that has been trained in the Enneagram and the different personalities of the Enneagram and how other people in the organization work. I come in sometimes and work with a vice president that has someone underneath him that isn't performing, and helping coaching them on having healthy conversations and how to get curious and those things. And so I do that. The other thing I do that I actually benefit financially from, you do it with me, but you get no financial benefit, is the work that we do with Onsite.
Oh, right.
Yes.
Yes.
You lead a group of people, of women that have gone through Onsite once a month, and that's part of you just giving back to them. But I'm doing some work with Onsite in the sense of uh, really being their brand ambassador, really seeing what
But people don't
Onsite's
know
about.
what onsite is.
I like Onsite. Onsite is really what they offer are intensives. They have several different intensives. An intensive is like going and getting 5-6 days of therapy, which is really adds up to over a year of therapy in 5 or 6 days on two beautiful campuses they have, one in outside Nashville and one outside San Diego.
Yeah,
And
but people don't necessarily believe that it's for them, or that it's going like they don't believe that they can get a year or two worth of therapy in 5 6 days, and but without exception, everyone that I know that is gone has loved it and said it's changed their life.
yes. And so what their bread and butter, their main program, their main intensive is called the Living Centered Intensive. And it's if you're off center in anything in your life, it doesn't have to be some big traumatic deal. It could be being an empty nester and how to get along with your spouse when there's no kids in the house.
Right.
Or it could be having a loss of a loved one, or someone that's going through a divorce, or someone. I just had someone that's getting ready to go to college that has family of origin issues. It's like uh, all sorts of different issues. I would say it's life. We all have stuff.
Right. Right.
And so that's one of the big things. Then they have healing trauma where people have real severe trauma. They have intensives for couples. They have intensives for individuals, and it's a truly healing place. And so I love the
Well,
work I
everybody can
do there.
use it, and that's part of the organizational health. Like it's everybody realizing they have to do their own work, and it is work. It's work. That's why it's not super easy, but so the return on investment is amazing. But
Yes, and when we say work, um, I've had a bunch of people go through in the last month. And they've come back and told me, "Man, I was so tired. I slept for a couple days afterwards."
yeah,
It's like, and one of them
that's why
was,
they call it work. Yeah.
yeah, one of them was one of the general contractors for Gordon Highlander, and he's a strong man and works his out there in the field, works his butt off. But when he said, "Man, I can't believe how worn out I was." It's like worn out from all the different messages you keep believing,
Yeah.
and you unpack it and you get in this place where you're safe and feel seen and heard, maybe for the first time in your life.
Well, and now people are finally embracing that whole body keeps the score type of situation. I mean, it's all over the news and social media and anything. I mean, any wellness person that you talk to will tell you that that's a real thing. It's a real medical mystery thing that the body keeps the score. And so I think we're going to talk a lot about those things,
Yeah. And what I,
coming up. And we're not going to get into anything real deep today because we just got to relaunch. We got to get back into it. But
yeah. And for me is, I mean, one of the big things that I've really focused on since having this time away, it's new. I've really come up with this framework that I've used throughout having the different treatment centers we've had and stuff like that. In Alcoholics Anonymous, they summed up Alcoholics Anonymous real simple back in the 50s. It's a feelings disease. We don't like how we feel. And so for me, I have focused in this last year to really believe there's only one way to be successful in your life. You have to investigate how you feel. You have a problem in your life right now that has you paralyzed, stuck in crisis. Investigate how you feel about that problem. You're driven by fear. Fear has you locked into reacting. Investigate how you feel, frees you from reacting, and allows you to act. Now that you've identified how that fear is how you feel about your biggest problem, your awareness of your fear is the key to setting you free from reacting. Now you're free to act in a way that allows you to actually begin to solve your problem. Investigating how you feel about your problem frees you from it because it makes you aware of the fact that you're just acting out of fear. And so I've spent a lot of time just to kind of put that little framework up of, man, it's fear.
what percentage of clients, whether new or old, do you think can identify their feelings?
What percentage?
Yeah,
Uh, no,
just
maybe
off the cuff, just
off the
can
cuff,
without
10%.
without any coaching or therapy. Yeah, 10%. I would have said lower.
I'm being high,
I know. I mean, and
because I'm
I could
thinking, how
even
come I'm
say
thinking that?
identify the feelings on the first try, like as far as
Well,
that
wait,
are actually feelings.
well, the reason why I say 10%, because I get clients that come that have been in treatment or
Yeah.
been in therapy before. So when I say 10%, those are the ones that have done some work.
But can they even do it
But
properly?
people, not a lot of times. Most people, when they come into therapy or coaching or life, don't know what the
Right.
feelings
Because
are.
if you say, how does that make you feel? Or how do you feel? And they say, well, I feel like he doesn't understand me.
That's not a feeling, that's a thought.
Exactly. Okay. And so we can talk a lot. I've done a lot of coaching around feelings and thought, all of the stuff that I've heard you do for 25 years plus, and all the stuff I've done for 15 plus years. And it's all like, all of a sudden, I'm like, using it in a way that I've never used it before because people literally don't know the difference between thoughts and feelings. They don't know the difference between like uh, codependency and even addiction. And they don't understand that most people have some shred of codependency in them. And so I started using the term overfunctioning.
I love that you use that term.
But all of a sudden they're like, "Oh, yeah, I totally overfunction." And I'm like, "Yeah, because 'cause you're codependent." And they're like, "No, no, no, I just overfunction. I'm not codependent." But it's the same thing, but and then it takes the coaching of and then they're like, oh my gosh, I do overfunction. It's not healthy. And and then I don't know, but so
And
I
if you
think
look
this
at the
new launching,
codependent,
we talked a lot about codependency in Filter Optional 1.0, and um and I think a lot of people resonated with a ton of people. They wanted more. When they would make requests, they were like, "We want more about this codependency." But then we took a little hiatus, and I start coaching more, a lot more, and I try to tell people the cycle of codependency, and they're like,
they kind of tune you
well,
out.
people are like, "Tell me more about this codependent. I just don't understand it." People are like, "I just don't understand it. I don't get it.
Yeah.
Like, why is helping my son
And you know what? The reason I
codependent?"
believe,
Yeah. What?
yeah, I mean, and I see why is helping my son codependent. I mean, I'm supposed to. It's my son.
Right.
Yes, I agree with that. But where I believe people get stuck because they're fearful that they think codependency is a bad thing.
Yes.
You know, when actually not all codependency is bad. You know, I was talking to a, a therapist at a treatment center, and man, this woman struggling, but man, some of her codependency has made her very, very successful. Now, where it's been not successful is in
Or
relationships
healthy.
or healthy, has been in relationships with those closest to her.
All right.
And so codependency,
It depends on if it's healthy or unhealthy. It's like the Enneagram. Everybody's all into the Enneagram, which I am too. I get it. But if you're an unhealthy two or a healthy two, they look very different. I mean, it's with codependency is the same. It's not a negative label. Being an Enneagram whatever number is not a negative label, and some people look at certain numbers as negative. We're not gonna talk about that because I don't wanna make anybody mad, but,
we might talk about it.
we might eventually, but not on the first gate out. I'm just
Okay.
that wasn't what I wanted to talk about, but I'm saying that people look at codependency as a bad word, addiction as a bad
But
word.
coming back to what you're saying is like how many people in my practice or in your coaching come in and know how to identify actually what they're feeling. And I said 10%, and that's probably real high, maybe 5%.
Yeah.
You know, and the reason being is because they're not even in touch. They're in touch with their thoughts, but thoughts are different than feelings.
I know, which is what we'll talk about later because we're coming up on 30 minutes now. And
And we don't need to stick to 30 minutes. We can go
we
longer.
don't. And no, I was just saying that for our first one back, I was just doing a little introduction, and then I'd really like to launch into thoughts and feelings, all the things. Like I just want to give
A taste.
people a
Yes.
taste of what we're going to talk about: thoughts and feelings. We're going to talk about investigating your feelings, how to identify them, and then how to
We're gonna talk about how you get locked into reacting from that fear and how to get out of reacting.
yes, to help yourself.
Yes, you will get stuff out of this podcast. We are going to tell you what you need to do in order to be successful in your life.
Yes. Yes.
If you listen, you will be able to achieve those things.
Yes, you will. Yes. And so we are going to take our experience and give it to you.
Not just our
Direct,
experience.
straight up.
We're gonna give you also our knowledge from the research that we have done.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yes.
That's
And
it's all
we'll
the
have
same thing.
anecdotal
Listen,
experience
yes,
for sure.
you will be able to have takeaways from everything. That's why I didn't want to necessarily launch into something right now, because the takeaway is you got to come back for more. We're going to say that this is the start back up.
Well, I do want them to have a takeaway. I want them to, if they want to be successful in their life, you only have one thing to do is to investigate how you feel. So that's the takeaway, and we'll really explain that more. But if you want to be successful in your life, you have to investigate how you feel. You have a problem in your life right now that has you paralyzed, stuck in crisis. Investigate how you feel about that problem. That's what I want to leave people with.
Yes.
So there is a takeaway. You need to do this.
Well, there is, but the takeaway, we're going to have to explain that because feelings aren't truth either. So that's a whole nother thing.
Feelings aren't truth. Yes, what I guess we're leaving a teaser. Is that what you would call it?
I guess a little bit. Yep.
Oh, and we can really unpack that. But when you're,
because you got to identify first, you got to identify and then investigate.
Yes, and then you can be set free. Because we react from that fear in our life.
Yes.
What are you laughing about?
Nothing.
I'm.
Is there anything else you want to share, Chico?
I do. I want to share that, man. You will be challenged. You will be. You're going to leave these episodes and feel like you have a choice to make, and those choices can be game changers in your life.
Perfect.
So
perfect.
That's what I'll leave you with.
Okay, that's good. Well, I'm looking forward to lots more. I think this went smoothly for our first get back up and go.
Well,
it's just a little introduction.
We hope it went smoothly because we pushed record. We just haven't watched us yet.
No, but we usually don't watch it back, actually. But
we might.
We
today.
will now. We can now.
Okay. Well,
okay.
I'm glad you're
All
back.
Right. Everybody have a good weekend. It is a Friday right now that we're recording, and it's hot here in Dallas. But everybody have a nice weekend or a nice day whenever this comes out. Okay.
All right. Ciao.